Hello and welcome to Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. Today's show, acupuncture for the emotional body. It's a very unique topic. I'm very excited to have Homa back. She is a California State Board licensed acupuncturist and herbalist and is certified by the Council of Colleges of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine in clean needle technique. Graduating Magna Cum Laude from Emperor's College of Traditional Medicine with a master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine, Homa specializes in pain management, internal medicine, and chronic conditions. She has received additional training in Taiji Rejuvenation Qigong from Medical Qigong Training Base in China and has extensive experience treating patients from all walks of life since 2008. Homa views a person holistically and treats the root cause of a disorder to resolve the symptoms. In addition to acupuncture and herbs, she incorporates nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle recommendations to empower her patients to restore health and vitality in their lives. Welcome back, Homa.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back.
I love this topic. I've referred many of my clients to acupuncture for emotions, for relieving the stress and the tension that emotions can cause, because I have had personal experience with having a budget issue and trying to decide, do I have a coaching session or do I go to acupuncture? And a lot of the times when there was a budget issue, I went to acupuncture instead and had some relief. Now, it might not have healed or dealt with the issue of my emotional crisis in the moment, but I felt relief in my body and emotionally from acupuncture. So let's talk about the emotional body. I know that that's a term that you've educated me about within acupuncture. Can you explain to people that are listening what the emotional body consists of?
Absolutely. So emotional health is absolutely essential to physical healing and well-being, in addition to proper diet and lifestyle. There are emotional barriers that can stand in the way of healing. They can lower the immune system, and if prolonged and not addressed, they can cause physical symptoms in the body. Removing of emotional blocks, restoring mind and body's balance is necessary and essential to healing both emotionally and physically. What acupuncture does is to actually strengthen a person so they can cope with situations in life. So I know you mentioned that you've received treatments to address or to treat stress with various, aspects or phases of your life. It did not address the actual stressor, however, it made you feel better. Because the way the Chinese medicine works with the body is that it helps strengthen you, it helps tonify you, so you can basically roll with the punches at ease and without letting it affect you. Life is basically a game. Some of us, can play it better than others without getting stressed. And what acupuncture does is that it gives you the tools and the strength to play the game harder and better and more effectively sometimes.
So when someone comes in and they do a consultation, is it something that you recommend based on what you're finding in their consultation, or is it something that people actually search out when it comes to the emotional body and acupuncture?
It's both. There are times that people come in and they don't really understand or are familiar with the mind-body connection, and they come with a physical symptom that they want to address using acupuncture. And through our health assessment, the first treatment especially is actually a detailed consultation of your life habits, including emotional well-being. And through that, they learn that some of their health issues may be manifestation of a prolonged or unaddressed emotional setback that they've had in life. So acupuncture is great for depression, both clinical and situational. It is excellent with post-traumatic stress disorders, and to the extent that the U.S. government is now also using acupuncture to treat war veterans. Acupuncture is great with addressing sadness, grief, or even heartbreak. So it works with both chronic emotional disorders as well as acute disorders. When I was in acupuncture school, of course, I had to learn how acupuncture worked using first-hand experience. I happened to have a heartbreak after a breakup while I was in school, and I had just learned in one of my classes that acupuncture was excellent for treating acute emotional disorders, including a heartbreak from a breakup. So I went in for a treatment, and I was fairly frank with my acupuncturist and told her what was going on. And I remember after one treatment, the next morning I woke up and I just felt like a new person, full of vitality and life force, and totally unaffected by the breakup. I just took it as an experience and I moved on with my life. It's like, the sun came out from behind the clouds. So it is a great emotional relief to get acupuncture. It also helps with anxiety and stress, which a lot of people suffer. And the way Chinese medicine deals with emotional disorders, especially anxiety, stress, depression, is very different from the Western medicine approach, where oftentimes it helps a person get sedated so they don't feel what's going on. They don't feel the depression. They don't feel the anxiety. What Chinese medicine does is actually it helps strengthen you. So you do feel it, and yet you can cope with it. You're strong enough to take it, basically, using different herbs and acupuncture treatments.
Well, that was a great explanation for what I sort of intuitively understood and got, because when you have acupuncture treatments, you feel better for most of the time. So I just said, well, I want to feel better, and it makes more sense for me to go strengthen my body right now. And, again, like I said, the budget between in the moment of saying, well, what can I do to help myself feel better? And acupuncture at that time for me was partially covered under insurance. So that's the choice I made, and I know it was a good choice. So when I was working with one of the acupuncturists, one of my good friends who went to Emperor's College, he had created for me this wheel of all of the different organs and link them to an emotion. I'd like to go over that. I know he created it for me, but I know you guys all study that and learn that. So if we could teach the people who are listening, like for instance, lungs is grief, where we hold grief, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
So go through all the organs and correlate them to the emotion that gets stuck there.
So the emotions are associated with each organ. And I want to add before we go into that just because you experience an emotion, you are not causing a disharmony or a disease in that organ, or vice versa. It's prolonged, unaddressed emotions that can cause disharmony in an organ. Or it could also be a chronic ailment in an organ that could cause a state of mind or an emotion. But it's always a prolonged effect, and it's never an immediate result. So with that said, you talked about the lungs. Lungs store grief and sadness. Oftentimes people with prolonged grief or sadness can experience shortness of breath. That's why you hear them sighing a lot. They can experience asthma or lowered immune system that results in allergies or frequent colds. Anger resides in the liver. So you find people who are highly irritable and often get angry, over time may manifest a liver disharmony or vice versa. People who have cirrhosis, chronic cirrhosis, or have any kind of liver damage often tend to be more irritable and have anger issues. Joy resides in the heart. Now, joy in Chinese medicine is considered a pathology, but we're not talking about the regular joy where you're just happy-go-lucky joy. We're talking about hysteria, like a manic joy. People who laugh a lot out of nervousness, or people who, talk to themselves on the street and display a manic or hysterical appearance. Pensiveness or worry resides in the spleen. Spleen is a big organ in Chinese medicine. It helps your mind. It helps your thought process. It helps blood production in the body. It helps your metabolism. So when you tend to worry, you're actually over a long period of time damaging the spleen function. So then you stop thinking clearly and coherently. Your metabolism slows down, but it also works vice versa. So if you have a disharmony in your spleen, you tend to stay up late at night worrying. You tend to wake up in the morning sluggish. You tend to get sleepy after you eat. You tend to get bloated. You tend to have lower metabolism. Fear affects the kidneys. And that's also true in Western medicine. Like people who experience shock or extreme fear may suffer from incontinence. So in Chinese medicine, we treat the kidneys to address prolonged fear. And we talked about the sadness also residing in the lungs. I think that addresses all of them. We talked about sadness, fear, pensive or worry, joy, and anger.
Yeah, this was a very helpful little graph that Shahid had made for me years ago. And I've known so many people that when I meet them or I start working with them and they tell me they have bronchitis, I will say, have you had a death in the family recently?
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. So, or some prolonged, like you said, grief or sadness, and it'll show up as bronchitis. So I love the connection between emotions and chronic pain and disease because it gives us the power to shift it versus feeling victimized by it. And I also thank you for letting people know that having the emotion, actually experiencing the emotion isn't the problem. In fact, I would think experiencing the emotion can help to release it. It's that overdoing or the chronic, like having grief for a very, very long period of time that the body doesn't process and all that chi gets stuck, which is why now they have a physical condition because of the emotional root.
Absolutely. So there's also a field of acupuncture that's called esoteric acupuncture. Esoteric basically means something that is not readily known. And one of the great lecturers on esoteric acupuncture is Dr. Mikio Sankey. And he says that the power of acupuncture is to harmonize and strengthen the body systems before a disease stage. But the power of esoteric acupuncture is to work with consciousness and strengthen the center, which consists of the various levels of your heart and strengthening the body. So esoteric alignment is strengthening and refining the heart center, and it helps you cope with all the emotions, especially at the acute phase, because at the beginning, any emotion, whether it's sadness, grief, depression, it affects the heart. So initially, we always address the heart.
Homa, can you just run through one more time so that anyone who's listening, in case they didn't catch it the first time, what types of emotional disorders are addressed with Chinese medicine, just in case they know it might not be them, but maybe they know somebody that has one of these emotional disorders or conditions and that they feel they could share this show with so they could get some help?
Yes, absolutely. PTSD is very common. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. And that could be from any kind of childhood trauma to an experience as an adult, whether it was a prolonged experience or exposure to some uncomfortable situation, like war veterans, experiencing seeing their friends getting blown up in front of them, or being a rape victim, or anything that causes a stressor or fear in a person. I had one patient who had fallen, and she was an adult. She was in her 60s. She had fallen at an airport once, and as a result of that one experience of her falling, she had a fear of walking through crowded places, and she always needed to either carry a cane or have someone hold her hand. And she came in basically with PTSD and fear, and after 5 treatments, she was able to walk across a room without having her husband with her or holding a cane. And she just caught herself doing it as she was crossing the room and realized that, oh my God, I'm healed in a way, and she never experienced it the same. So what acupuncture did was it allowed her body to release that blockage. When we suffer from an emotion, it's not that incident that hurts us. It's not that incident that holds us back. It's actually our muscle memory, our body memory of how we felt at the time we experienced that pain, how we felt at the time we experienced that emotion that resides in our body, and we remember every time we remember what we experienced. So if you fell and your legs felt weak after that, every time you think about that experience, you feel that sensation in your legs. So acupuncture helps relieve that physical discomfort that we felt and associate with the emotion while we experience that emotion. And it helps unblock those blockages. It helps restore balance and flow in the body so we don't associate any kind of physical discomfort with the actual emotion or situation that we experienced.
Excellent. This is fascinating because I've always done acupuncture and I've never really thought of it all this way. So thank you for being able to articulate really the application of this great medicine and Chinese medicine into another realm where I think people would be more likely to use acupuncture for emotional reasons who might have resistance to therapy. So if you're having resistance to therapy and you want to feel better or you want relief, here's the reason why to try acupuncture if you haven't before. So, Homa, I have one more question for you about different tips that people can do that are listening, things that they might be able to change about their diet or about their lifestyle that I'd like you to educate them on and inspire them to try now. So before they potentially see an acupuncturist or they come to see you or they call you for consultation on the phone. But before we give them some of those at-home tips and tools that they can do to start changing how their body processes emotion on a physical level by using some of these tools that you have, is there anything we can do at home by ourselves or the tools that you use that we can use in order to just alleviate? I know we're not doing acupuncture on ourselves, but what are some of the things that people at home listening right now can do to help themselves?
Absolutely. The first thing is meditating. And I always tell all my patients, especially the ones who have any kind of emotional concerns, to sit down and really meditate. Now, it's not easy to start meditating if you've never done it. But fortunately, there are a lot of resources out there, and there are a lot of meditation classes. I know all over Southern California, but I'm sure in other locations as well. There's a lot of resources on meditation also online. On YouTube, you could Google meditation, and you will see different techniques. If you start meditating and you realize one technique isn't working for you, just look for another technique of meditating. But what it does is that it helps clear your mind and it allows your body to be fully present, and it helps increase your circulation. It helps regulate the neurotransmitters in your bloodstream, so releases serotonin, which plays a big role in your appetite, mood, behavior, cardiovascular health. So the other thing that I recommend is practicing emotional freedom technique. Are you familiar with that, JJ?
Yes.
EFT. So again, if you'd like to send me an email, anyone who's on this show and wants to learn more about emotional freedom technique, I can guide them. And it's basically tapping or doing acupressure on certain points on the body that help relieve blockages, and it helps promote lymphatic flow and help release your muscle memories that your body holds on to because of certain fears or certain experiences. And EFT is basically tapping with positive affirmations. So positive affirmations is another way of helping you cope with your emotional conditions. So basically you're acknowledging what happened, and you can do various types of positive affirmations to let you know that you're okay and let your body know that it can restore its health and balance despite of the experiences that you've had in your life.
So that's great. EFT, emotional freedom technique, affirmations, meditation, and I know that you're available to help anyone anywhere when it comes to some of this stuff, and as well as give people treatment. So Homa, why don't you tell people how to find you for those that live in Southern California and would like to visit Homa and have a treatment. She's wonderful. Tell us your website and your phone number.
Absolutely. My website is www.acubyhoma.com. That's Acu by Homa. I also have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Acu by Homa, ACUBYHOMA. And I'm also available for in-person consultation and appointments. And the phone number for booking that is 310-643-6569. My practice is located in El Segundo, California, and it's inside of the Spectrum Health Club. You do not have to be a member to come in for treatment, and all non-members are welcome to use the Spectrum Health Club facilities before and after their treatment, which I think fully enhances and helps with the treatment, basically settling in while they stay and relax afterward.
Right. They have a spa, and they could do exercise before and get their blood pumping and circulation and then relax after, correct?
Exactly. Use the sauna, jacuzzi, steam room, and also there's a juice bar. So you can totally make it a great experience before and after your acupuncture treatment.
Excellent. So if you're having any issues with the emotional body part of your life and experience and want more information from Homa, again, it's Acu by Homa. We'll have all of her contact information on fittolove.tv. Homa, thank you again. This was a great show. I know I learned some things and was reminded of all the different emotions in each one of the organs. So I'm going to now create my own little chart and stick it on my wall. But thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, JJ. It was a pleasure.
Still struggling with weight loss or feel like you've tried everything? Maybe you're even hopeless and feel like there's no other answer. That's the reason why I wrote The Invisible Fitness Formula, 5 Secrets to Release Weight and End Body Shame. You can get your free copy at jjflazanes.com/book. Again, that's jjflazanes.com/book.